Welcome to Lovin The Loveboat, a fond and funny look back on the world's greatest cruise ship-based television show. I'm Istvan, singer, songwriter, and TV fanatic.
And I'm Michelle, pop culture enthusiast.
Join us as we relive episodes of one of the most watched TV series of all time.
Occasionally deviating to pop culture charts unknown.
So come aboard, we're expecting you for another edition of
Lovin The Loveboat. Whew, hello.
Where am I?
We're back on board, my friend.
What year is this? Oh, we're doing the Loveboat podcast.
Hello, everyone. We're back.
Hi, you guys. Yes, after a long hiatus and rest and many cruises. How many cruises have we been on, Michelle?
At least 20.
Well, via YouTube.
Yes.
Hi, you guys. Yes, we are back. And just maybe we need to give a little exposition. We have many listeners to thank, but we have one in particular, Grace and her husband, with some wonderful emails and encouragement, both in spirit and monetarily. More on that to come. Mm-hmm. But honestly, through that sort of correspondence, it really got us remotivated and refocused. And what we are planning on doing is going back to season 3. And what we think we're going to do is we are going to actually try and go back and watch every single episode of the show.
Yeah.
And just do it on a time frame that we think that we can handle with your help, though, hopefully, you guys. So let's get into this, shall we?
Yes, we should.
Okay. So we are, you guys, I know we were bopping around for a while. We are on episode 1 of season 3. We never watched that one.
It's a two-parter,
Yeah,
too.
of course it's a two-parter.
It either ends on a two-parter this season or it starts.
Where are we heading, Michelle?
Alaska. I love a destination.
Oh, totally. All right, but first, let's get it. It was a little confusing, you guys. I always try and say the storylines, and I was confused by it. Were you or no?
There were a lot of storylines. It was more like the storylines were the couples. They did it by couples.
Yes, because not only are we heading to Alaska, but we have a wedding.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so what we've got today, you guys, is Carol and Doug's story by the famous Ben Jolson and Art Bear. Secondly, we have Buddy and Portia's story, written by Lon Okun. Thirdly, we have Peter and Alicia's story, written by Ray Jessel. And finally, we have Julie's story, written by Lee Aronson. Now, we are star-studded. Michelle, can you please tell us who we've got on board?
I sure will. First off, we have Mr. Lorne Green as Buddy Bowers.
Oh, yes.
I mean, he doesn't really need much explanation. Everybody knows who he is. One thing, though, I learned that I did not know. He's Canadian.
Oh.
That was news to me.
Well, they kind of write that into the story because he has little bits of Canadian stuff that work their way into this episode.
Next, we have Mark Harmon. Oh, it's Doug Bradbury.
And his highlights. Is that his hair?
God.
Is that his real hair?
His highlights were bothering me and his bangs in this one because I don't even know what that hairstyle was.
It was great because I'll tell you what, it's windy on this cruise and his hair kind of fell back in place really nicely. So whatever Vidal Sassoon cut he got worked well for the high winds that he was confronted with.
Well, speaking of, just quickly, I'm going to divert for 1 second.
Yes.
Because of the winds, and I guess it was colder than they anticipated on this cruise, they had to buy a bunch of fur coats, I read, for the women to wear, thus covering up their glamorous wardrobe that they had picked out for them for the show.
The furs look great, though.
Yeah, they did, but they had to quick buy them.
You could tell everybody was cold because they all had jackets on and it was raining and stuff. It was really rough, I think.
It was weather they weren't anticipating happening. But anyway, back to Mark Harmon. Everybody knows him probably mostly from NCIS, which I've never watched in my life.
Me neither.
But I best know him from one of my all-time favorite 80s movies, Summer School.
Freddie Shoup loves to cut class, hates to do homework, lives for summer vacation.
Look, Freddie, you're a semi-charming guy and a real snappy dresser. You're just not the kind of guy I date anymore.
Yeah? What kind of guy you dating now?
Oh, the kind who wears socks.
And the only reason he hasn't been expelled yet is because he's the gym teacher.
Oh, Mr. Shoup.
At Oceanfront High.
Michelle, Summer School is a movie that I should have watched and loved, but for some reason it eluded me, and I don't know why, because every person I know in our age range loved it like you did. Why? What?
I don't know. It's just a fun movie. I mean, it was like a fun teen movie. It wasn't too serious, but it had some serious stuff in it. Kirstie Alley was in it with him. The Courtney Thorne Smith was in it as a teenager. It was just the storyline was great, and the two their names, Chainsaw and the other guy. They were like two horror film junkie kids, and so they were always doing like horror stuff on the. I don't know. It's a great movie. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. And you'll appreciate this too, because Mark Harmon is still married to Pam Dauber.
Really? Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
For quite some time.
And Pam Dauber, of course, you guys from one of our favorites, we always, Mork and Mindy.
Mm-hmm.
Nanu.
Although we've had so many heated debates because I like when Jonathan Winters came on to Mork and Mindy, and I think that was the proverbial jumping of the alien shark for you, right?
I did not like it at all. It was stupid.
Oh, yeah, because the rest of Mork and Mindy was so highbrow.
Well, than highbrow. I mean, it was already hard to believe, and then it made it even worse to have an aging backwards baby from an egg.
That's how that's what it is. Oh, but you found it acceptable when you sit on your head as a person from Ork. You know what, Michelle? Shazbot. Okay, who else is on this cruise?
Next, we have Lisa Hartman, who is, she's been on quite a few times, 5 times to be exact.
I love Lisa Hartman. She's so cute.
Yeah, she plays Carol Bowers, and she was, on Tabitha and Knots Landing, so I think everybody obviously knows who she is. And now next up is Miss Caren Kaye. She played Natalie.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to let you take this one away because you're more familiar with her acting work than I have been.
Oh, my God, you guys. This was so wonderful for me. The Love Boat has so many of my youth crushes. Now, Caren Kaye, she's in one of, you're talking about, what was it, Summer School? Mm-hmm. There were other 80s movies that loomed large in my life, one of which was My Tutor.
Hello, Bobby. I'm Terry Green, your French tutor. We're going to be working together this summer.
I suppose we have to start today.
Tomorrow's soon enough.
A one-day summer vacation. Terrific.
Now, in this period of time, Michelle, for a young man such as myself in the early 80s, I always talk about my fondness of the early 80s. There were so many movies that were like these coming-of-age movies where a beautiful older woman like basically seduces a younger man. Mm-hmm. And that's what that movie was all about. And I think I watched that movie many, many times. I do believe Crispin Glover's in that movie as like his goofy best friend or something.
He did a lot of the teen movies back then before he turned into Crispin Glover.
Yeah. If you guys don't know who Crispin Glover is, that's a whole other thing for us and our experience with Crispin Glover. But Caren Kaye is so, to me, beautiful. But then she also was in another show where she played the mom in a show that I really liked called It's Your Move.
I remember it, but I don't think, like I was saying to you earlier, I don't think I ever watched it because something else I liked must have been playing up against it.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. That show only ran for like 1 year. It was like a 1-year show. But for some reason, certain shows, well, for anybody, like something captures you. I think I've always liked Jason Bateman forever. I liked he's been the same character always, sort of like a wisecracking, mischievous type of a person. And I always was drawn to that. But if you did watch that show, and for what I was into back then, which was I was starting to get into like heavy rock music, there was an episode that forever, there's just certain things like we talked about on The Love Boat where Deacon Dark came on, where he was like the Alice Cooper / Kiss character. Mm-hmm. That sticks in your memory. There was a show where they had a band, in quotations, come on for like a talent show or something like that, and they were called the Dregs of Humanity.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Dregs of Humanity!
And they were like, basically, Michelle, they looked like the ring wraiths from Lord of the Rings. Like, that's what they looked like, but they weren't real. They were fake, like, marionette things, and one of the kids was backstage moving them, but everybody was fooled into thinking that it was a real band. It's ridiculous, and that's why I like the show. But Caren Kaye was also the very pretty mom on that show. I love Caren Kaye. She is kind of the villain on this, but
sure is.
not to me. Okay, who else is on the show?
Next, we have making another appearance is Audra Lindley.
Oh, yeah.
She plays Portia Fairchild.
She's the greatest.
Yes, if you recall, she was on, was it season 1 or season 2, where she and John Astin hook up. He was a hermit.
Oh, my God, that's right.
It was her.
That's an awesome episode.
And she's been on 8 times.
Wow, yeah, she's great.
She really needs no further explanation because everybody knows who she is.
And speaking of the cruises that we've been watching, there's always women that dress up as Mrs. Roper, and they all gather together in places, and it seems kind of fun to me.
Oh, yeah, it's like a popular thing. I think it's called like a Mrs. Roper crawl. Like they do pub crawls, and then they dress up as Mrs. Roper.
I think that's awesome. I think that's so fun. And like we saw them on a couple of the cruise things that we've been watching, and it's awesome.
It is. Next, we have Ray Miland as Peter Bradbury. Who is
he? I don't
He's
know.
an older actor. He was very old on this show. He was dubbed one of Paramount's most bankable stars.
See, I don't know. I know his name. I just don't know anything that he was in.
He was just in a lot of movies, back in the day, like in the 40s and 50s. He was also an enthusiastic yachtsman.
Oh, wow.
So that makes sense that he was on the Love Boat.
Just like you. Okay.
Yep. And then we have everyone's favorite, Donny Most.
Ralph Mouth's on this, you guys.
Hey, speaking of, he plays Marv Prime, but when I was until I did this, I don't know why I never realized it. Mouth was spelled M-A-L-P-H. When I was a kid, I thought it was Ralph Mouth, like M-O-U-T-H. Did you think that, or am I the only?
No,
kid?
I didn't know that.
Were you the only kid? Am I the only kid that thought it was Mouth?
No, I thought it was the same thing.
No, Mouth. His last name was Mouth.
Wow.
So I guess maybe that was a play on words because he talked a lot. Who knows? But he's still acting, which I think is cool.
Yeah, I would love him.
And he's still around.
How do you not love him?
You can't not love him. Next, we have Eleanor Parker. She plays Alicia Fairchild Bradbury.
Beautiful older woman.
She is.
She's pretty.
Married 4 times. In case you were wondering. Always those older actresses were like married a bunch of times, those old Hollywood actresses. And finally, even though he really wasn't in this episode much, except for in some flashbacks, we have Mr. Tony Roberts as Jack Chanel.
So we gotta hope he's on his way. I gotta hope he's gonna make an appearance.
Because I totally forgot that he was in Alaska until she brought it up.
Yeah,
really
no,
did.
it was awesome because he has the 2 daughters. The one person who I cannot remember her name, but she was on the Office, the American version of The Office, and she's fantastic. And Julie just was not prepared to become a mom already.
I'll be interested to see how this plays out in the second parter. But he also just recently died in February. So that's a bit of a bummer, a sad note. And also, you know who else just recently died?
Oh, here we go. It's our in memoriam. This one is extra tough, you guys.
This is a big one.
Yes,
and for anybody listening to this podcast, I'm sure you all feel the same way. But Ruth Buzzy just died as we recorded this episode.
We were trying to contact her, honestly, because she would like post on like Twitter or whatever, but I bailed on Twitter, and she was
very
sharp,
active. Mm-hmm.
and we would just totally like praise her so much because again, I talk about the Monkees. She was on the Monkees and all this different stuff.
Everything.
She's on everything as we grew up, and just she's beyond iconic.
She is.
R.I.P. Ruth Buzzy. All right, let's get into this, you guys. We are headed to Alaska. And just in case you were wondering, Isaac, Doc, and the captain are going to let you know exactly where we're going.
Wow, this Bowers-Bradbury wedding is really going to be something, isn't it?
Yeah, those people must be loaded. Bringing an entire wedding party to Alaska for the ceremony? Can you imagine having that kind of bread?
Only in a world without alimony.
Well, are you gentlemen looking forward to your first Alaskan cruise?
Yes, sir. I've been reading up on it. Did you know that Alaska has 5,000 glaciers, 3 million freshwater lakes, and a farming community where it is not uncommon to find cabbages weighing more than 70 pounds?
Those Alaskans must eat an awful lot of coleslaw.
Afternoon, sir.
Afternoon.
Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith, we are sailing from Vancouver, Canada, past Prince Rupert onto Alaska, Juneau, Skagway, Glacier Bay, Sitka, and back to Los Angeles.
I thought it was super helpful that the captain had that map of their Alaskan cruise from Vancouver all the way back down to Alaska.
I love visual aids.
I do too.
So I appreciate it.
He seems so proud to tell everybody about the cruise.
That's cool though, because they are saying like if you ever make it up to Alaska, and now we're actually going there, and we know exactly where we're headed.
Exactly. Next, Lorne Green shows up after leaving a hefty tip to the chauffeur, which will indicate to everybody watching that he has money.
Yes, but beyond that, that is absolutely true, that he also is just like a regular guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was a person who didn't have money in the beginning and then came into money. And he's just like still like regular guy, salt of the earth, down to earth.
Right. He's the grandfather of the bride.
But he's loaded.
He is loaded.
Oh, that's okay, friend. I've been opening doors for years. Can't stop now just when I get in the hang of it.
Yes, sir, Mr. Bowers.
Now, that's another thing. Back where I come from, they call me Buddy. Mr. Bowers is my daddy.
Oh, thank you, buddy, sir.
This is for getting me here from the airport on time.
can't take that, sir.
I don't care if Mrs. Bradbury stands in ahead and Mrs. Clementine. Now, I'll pay for a society wedding and all that other stuff. Whatever else it takes for my cow to have the best. But you get yourself a good bottle of whiskey with that.
Oh, yes, sir. Thank you, buddy. Sir. Hey, buddy! Bon voyage!
But he ain't the only one who's loaded. The other family that his granddaughter is now marrying into, I think they're well-known rich. And the captain, basically, he's helping us all understand what's going on. He is throwing exposition around willy-nilly.
That is Alicia Bradbury, the groom's mother.
Name sounds familiar.
She is formerly Alicia Fairchild. Her father left her $8 million.
Only 8? What a piker. Which one's the father of the groom?
I know he's not coming to the wedding. He's the black sheep of the family.
Oh. How do you know all this?
Captain's intuition. And I also had a report from head office.
I missed the captain, so I was really glad that he had a lot of stuff up front and he's setting up the storylines for us.
Yes.
But another one he did not set up was that Miss Fairchild's sister, Portia. Audra Lindley shows up, and she's kind of the wild sister, the kinder sister.
She plays a character. It's very, she's well cast in this for sure.
Brought a lot of wigs on that cruise.
Yeah.
She seemed to have a different wig on in every single episode.
I don't mean to jump ahead, but you will see sort of maybe a burgeoning relationship between her and Lorne Green. I started to think if they got married, they could both put their hair pieces on little heads, and then they could decide what they're going to wear that day. It'd be kind of fun.
Then next, if you want to, they start talking about, Julie starts talking about the cruise.
Oh God! Well, they go right into one of my favorites.
Well, okay, really quick.
Yeah.
I was expecting, though, I had forgotten about the whole thing with Tony Roberts, to be fair. So I thought she was going to talk about her other failed wedding, where she got left at the altar in Australia.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So I thought that's why she was getting all sentimental, but I was very wrong.
Well, then it probably was super helpful that they went into one fabulous flashback.
I'll say.
If you ever get to LA again, maybe you could look me up.
Sure. If you ever get up to Alaska.
That's not altogether impossible. We have cruises, and I could get on one of them accidentally, and maybe on purpose.
Sure. Well, if you do, look me up.
Do you work here?
Yeah, I'm supposed to. I'm Julie McCoy, your cruise director. I have to.
Cruise director, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I'm Mark Prime. My friend Doug Bradbury's getting married.
Mark Prime, of course. Yes, you're the best man.
Well, maybe not the best, but close enough. Have you been to Alaska often?
No. First trip.
Oh. Well, I know a really nice restaurant in Sitka.
Well, I really haven't made my plans yet. I might look up an old friend.
Well, listen, before you say no, I have to warn you that I respond very badly to rejection.
How do you respond to a maybe?
And the only way I like to come out of a flashback is with Donny Most, basically, where Alpha Mouth, he helps you out of a nice flashback. And then it's like after those guys, then we do have to see the couple of the hour, our young couple, Mark Harmon and his weird hair, and the beautiful Lisa Hartman. And these guys, you know, they seem like an awesome couple. But it's like, it's a lot of pressure for a young girl who grew up very modestly. There's all this attention and you know, Michelle, you wouldn't handle this very well when you fall in love with Mark Harmon. And we get to just see sort of like the dynamic of those two real quick.
Well, now or never.
Yeah, guess we better get on board, huh?
Sure you wouldn't rather alone?
You know I would. Look, anything to avoid this mess. But if it's going to make your grandfather happy and my mother happy, hey, I'll go for it. How about you?
Let's run for it.
Oh, wait a minute. No, come on.
And you know, The Love Boat isn't The Love Boat without some kind of tension or drama or something. So your girl, Caren, comes in as an ex-girlfriend of Mark Harmon, which I didn't quite understand why they invited her, or maybe she invited herself. Who knows?
Well, she has some sort of relationship, like they've known each other since they were little, you know? Yeah, it's weird. I didn't understand. It took me a little while to understand the dynamic of everybody, but I think they've known each other since they were
you're right.
little.
I think they do mention that at some point on the cruise.
And she is, you know, obviously wanting to be with him. Yeah, it's problematic.
And then, unexpectedly...
there's another drop-in.
The drop-in of Mark Harmon's dad.
Yes. And this has been some sort of like, what is it called? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like where somebody like falls out of grace and disappears from your life. And I guess like...
just abandoned him at some point when he was a kid. Dude
had a drinking problem. And then he shows up. There's a lot of pressure when you're a big Paramount star and like, you know, you're the guy they're banking on to bring in the bucks. But he is not invited.
No.
But he shows up.
What are you doing here?
I'm very well, thank you, Alicia. And how are you?
Aren't you going to say something to him?
If he wants me, he can find me.
You weren't invited, Peter. Why are you here?
I'm trying to be a father, and I wanted to see my son.
But what makes you think he wants to see you? He's done well enough without you up until now.
Yes, I imagine you've seen to that.
I also intend to see that nothing interferes with this wedding. Especially not a drunk who suddenly decided he wants to be a father.
Well, I've been on the wagon for a long time, and you know that.
Yes. Yes, Peter, I know that. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter now. You see, it's just too late.
Always the ringmaster, Alicia. Well, I may have the same old face, but I'm not the same old clown.
Attention passengers, we hope you're enjoying this episode of the Lovin the Loveboat podcast. Be aware that your listenership is appreciated and that your generosity keeps us afloat. So please consider tipping your hosts via our Venmo. Links to our Venmo can be found in the bio section of our Instagram or in the episode description of the show wherever you listen to the podcast. Thanks again, and now back to the episode. Guys, we are so happy to be back on the ship.
We are.
And as we had, if you've listened to any of our episodes, as we've, you know, proceeded throughout season 1, season 2, we started to come up with the theory that the Love Boat is magic. And that's why so many things happen so quickly. And that's why when you're here for a big wedding, you think that they're the only two people who are in love. No. Other love might spring up. And it might be geriatric love. And as Lorne Green is struggling with a bow tie, even though he had it tied and then he unties it, didn't make any sense to me.
Maybe it was too tight around his neck.
You start to see a possible, I hope it ends up in romance, of him and, what's her name, Portia?
Mm-hmm.
Mrs. Roper?
Mrs. Roper.
Yeah. She just kind of hones in on him, and these two start like sort of wisecracking together, and you're like, wow, this might be something.
Anything I can do for you?
No. No, I was just fascinated. I'd never seen a man hang himself before.
I don't know why people wear these outfits. I look like I should be handing out menus.
You mean you're not?
Never could tie one of these things.
Well, don't look at me.
I wasn't looking at you.
Good.
Hey. Who are you?
Portia Fairchild.
Oh.
Well, who are you?
Buddy Bowers.
Oh.
Hey, Michelle, when you're on the Love Boat, you know, there's problems too, right? Not everything's love.
No.
Frisky love.
Maybe an urgent ship to shore phone call that takes 15 minutes for you to
Ship
wait.
shore financial phone call.
Because it couldn't wait.
Yeah, you're either locked in a room with Mr. Drummond or you're getting a bad call from your stockbroker.
Mhm.
Very, very prescient given today's situations
Absolutely.
and circumstances. The Love Boat knew what was happening. And the rich lady may not be rich very much longer.
You are supposed to be protecting my interests.
I can't control the market. The price is dropping. I don't know when it's going to go up.
What? How much has it gone up?
Down, Alicia. It's going down. You've got to sell.
Well, I can't sell. I'm using that stock as collateral for a loan.
Your what?
Collateral. It's a private thing from my uncle.
And my hands are tied. Let's just hope the market stays.
Yes, let's.
Istvan,
Yeah.
you know I love facts. All kinds of fun facts. And
Yeah.
and I particularly liked how they had Isaac on this episode with his little Alaskan book, spitting out facts throughout the whole cruise so far.
Yeah, that was the running gag with Isaac because he doesn't really have right now a super role, but they did find a way to, give little tidbits about Alaska in kind of a comical way.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know they have these worms in Alaska that live in ice?
I hope they like scotch.
Did you know that Alaska was originally settled by 3 different groups? The Aleuts, the Indians, and the Eskimos.
No kidding.
The name Alaska comes from the native word Alyeska, meaning great land.
And did you know that there's a native term in Alaska that means quiet? Zip your lip.
One thing I particularly liked about this episode is we immediately went to the disco lounge.
Yeah.
Nobody likes a disco instrumental dance time than I do. One thing I didn't understand that I have in my notes here is when Mark Harmon and his fiancée were dancing, then Caren came and she was like, hey, this is our song. And I'm like, oh, what is it going to be? But it was just another instrumental. How could a disco instrumental be your song?
I don't know. Maybe it's not even. Maybe she was lying just to interrupt.
More than likely, of course. But I thought it was kind of a weird thing.
I could not do anything other than focus on her in that dress. I'm going to tell you. Caren, she's...
I was thinking, wow, their censors were pretty lax in the 70s or late 70s, early 80s.
Thank God. See, now on the in the disco area, what I focused on was some honest to goodness, pretty great acting from Lorne Green, I thought. And a really cool bit of the storyline and why the Love Boat's so great is he sits down after struggling with his bow tie and he sits behind Mrs. Roper, Portia. And then they both just, they really have a good chemistry with one another where they're comfortable with one another. They know how to communicate with each other. And that I thought they established really quickly and really nicely.
They're like a no BS couple.
Yeah. And appropriate age for one another, not some ridiculous.
Which is very rare on the Love Boat.
But it's nice. And that's the thing. It's like they've seen the same stuff. So it worked right away, I thought. But then he actually gives, we're talking about exposition, he tells sort of the background or whatever of what happened with his granddaughter. And I thought his acting was super, super genuine in this part and really well done.
I like Carol.
Yeah, me too. When a folks died, she's just a little one. brought her up.
You did a good job.
Give her my best shot. We were poor a long time. She never complained. I struck her lucky, and, well, there isn't anything she might want I wouldn't give her.
Well, I'm glad she gets Doug. He's good people.
I'll drink to that.
To Doug and Carol.
Yeah, well, the disco setting becomes sort of like this background for other serious things, too.
More drama.
Yeah, because this is when the Mark Harmon's dad, who was not invited onto the ship, decides to come up and say hello to his son.
Hello, Doug. You're a hard man to find. How are you?
Fine, Dad. Long time no see.
Yes. This must be Carol.
That's right. Carol, this is my father.
It's nice to meet you.
How are you? You're a very lucky man. Well, I won't spoil your fun. It's very nice meeting you.
You too.
Good night.
Gosh, he seems really nice.
Carol, we've been over this before. I just have absolutely no respect for the man.
Well, maybe if you talk.
Oh, Dougie, listen, they're playing our song. Why don't we show them how we won the dance contest, huh?
Oh, I don't know, man.
Oh, you wouldn't mind, would you, dear? Not at all.
Michelle.
Yes.
Were you ever prepared for such a dashing stowaway?
No.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I sure do. You're talking about Mark Harmon's dad.
Yeah, he didn't pay to get on this cruise.
Well, it was booked, as he said. He had all intentions of paying when he walked on. But again, I'm going to say this again. And I've said this throughout the show. As a child stowaway, an adult stowaway, had I known it was this easy to just walk on a cruise ship in the 70s and 80s and not get checked if you had a ticket, I would have done it a long time ago back then.
It's not real. It's a television show.
I don't care.
I don't know that it's that easy.
It doesn't matter.
Well, that's the thing. He is an honorable man, though, too. As we're going to find out, this guy's been through quite a bit. And he goes to the captain's quarters to admit that he does not have a ticket for this cruise and what his intentions are.
Captain, I'm Peter Bradbury, the groom's father.
Well, how do you do?
Fine, thank you. Actually, I came to turn myself in. I am by way of being what you'd call a stowaway.
I don't understand.
Well, I didn't know about my son's wedding until I read it on the society page. I was quite prepared to pay for my passage. But when I inquired about this cruise, I found out it had been sold out months ago, solid. So I got the silly idea that I'd show up anyway and perhaps find a place to sleep. You see, it's important that I see my son.
Have you?
Yes. I'll get off at the ship's next port of call.
What, and miss the wedding?
Captain, I don't belong here.
One of the nice things about being captain is there's nobody around to yell at me if I bend the rules. Tonight you can stay in my cabin. And tomorrow I'll see if I can find you private accommodations.
Well, that's very kind of you, but it's quite...
Or I could give you a blanket and you could sleep in a lifeboat.
I can't wait to see your cabin.
Now, Michelle, this clip just, again, talk about proving points. You love the captain.
I do. I was just going to say.
And it shows what a good man he is and that his true soft spot is that of a father. Mm-hmm. And when he sees a dad making this effort, he was stunned that he was going to leave the ship before the wedding took place. He couldn't even fathom that.
No.
So then he broke the rules and then he let him sleep right next to him because he's like, I can't wait to see your quarters. I'm like, what are you guys going to lay head to foot in the same bed? What's
aren't
going
his
on?
quarters in the back of that office?
Yes.
captain just slept on the couch?
I don't know. I don't know what was happening, but the way that was worded was very confusing to me, as if they were going to be snoring next to each other for the whole night.
Maybe he has like a double bed back there or something.
Yeah, bunk bed. I don't know, but he's hooking the dad up, and that's really, really nice of him.
Cut to the next morning when the father and the captain are furthering their conversation on the what would you call that part of the ship?
I don't know. I always think it's the bridge or whatever.
Yeah, the bridge. And he's helping, talking to the captain as he's manning the ship. And
in his little Swiss hat. He has his little Swiss hat on, his Alpine hat.
And he's just telling him more of his backstory of what happened, how he was an alcoholic. But then, there had to be a hook, right?
Mm. Oh, man.
Later on, a little bit later in the conversation, he's talking about how he needs a prescription filled.
They're breaking my rule.
That's so random. So I'm like, something bad is going on with the father, because why else would he need this prescription filled? And do ships have just all kinds of prescriptions, or when they get to a port, will Jock go fill that prescription?
I don't know. This guy really didn't plan ahead. It's like, I need my massive prescription that's so important to me. And it's like, let me just risk it to chance that they're going to be able to fill this on the boat.
I was thinking, even if you weren't going to get off at the next port, would you not have filled that prescription before you?
It's crazy.
They needed it to reveal some kind of illness at some point.
Oh God, I'm gonna share this with everyone, because then the captain just kindly goes to Doc. Oh, hey, could you fill this out? He didn't bother to look at what it was for. And then Doc gets all somber, and then I'm like, oh, you guys.
I knew it was
coming. If you lead me into a fatal malady, I am going to be so mad after that husband guy had it and could not marry Julie.
Oh, exactly.
I was furious about that.
Here we go again.
I do not come to the Love Boat for any sort of, dying or whatever it is. I can't take
Terminal illnesses are not my favorite plot line.
Oh, my God. And so then Doc gets all grim.
Adam.
Captain!
How are you?
That's fine. How are you?
Okay. Oh, look. Can you fill that for me?
Bradbury, relative of the groom?
The father.
Oh.
Adam?
This prescription is for Dilaudid. It's an extremely strong painkiller, usually used for terminal patients.
You know what kind of grimness I like, Michelle?
What?
Bankruptcy phone calls. That's what I'm looking for. That's the kind of like
that kind of drama.
Yes, that's what I want on the Love Boat. And boy, oh boy, did they deliver.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
Even if I sold the house?
I'm sorry, Alicia. That's it. You're at rock bottom.
Well, then, I guess there's nothing else to do. Declare bankruptcy. But not for another 3 days. 3 days. You've got to hold him up that long.
Okay, I'll try.
You've got to keep it going, Michelle, for 3 days.
Sell. Just sell.
She gets to act her ass off, and I love it. It's so great. It's so dramatic, and it's almost like silent movie acting, but with words.
But she had to leave another confusing part of this cruise.
What?
The revealing of the wedding gifts.
What?
The part where she had to take that call because they were they had all the wedding
hibachi?
Gifts. I want a hibachi grill.
What is
now.
a hibachi? What is that?
It's like a little grill. You put flames underneath it and you can cook meats indoors. I 100% wanted one after watching that.
Hibachi.
I'm like, that's a great wedding gift. But I thought it was weird that some of the gifts were wrapped, some were out on display. And then you got to take all that stuff home. Your crystals and your tea sets and your hibachi grill. So the grandfather's rich.
You have servants do that for you.
At least the Hartman's rich.
Yeah. Well, we are towards the end of this first part. I don't feel bad if we were to wrap this up.
No, but we should also just mention quickly the weird random picnic.
Where they're eating crab?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Everybody's on the shore, everybody ends up at this weird rock formation.
Yeah.
And remember the dad
it's
and the mom have
river.
A conversation. It's kind of like the bow of the boat at night for the heavy conversations. The mom and the dad are there. They're having a conversation.
Oh, yeah.
And then Lorne Green tells another sad story about his wife and the rainbow.
Oh, he gets all emotional, and it's so fantastic because it just shows the depth of this man.
Mhm.
Because he shows his vulnerability, but he's also very strong. He's had to deal with a lot of tragedy. That's the death I can accept. Like the parents died, and they don't go into any detail about it. That's
True.
very like Disney-esque or something. But he's like very comfortable sharing this with Mrs. Roper, and then she is just seeing, because she's also like kind of a tougher lady to where
She
like
is.
it would take a lot to impress her, and then she's really actually like letting her, not her guard down, but realizing like this guy is something special.
Absolutely.
And I thought that was really nice, and they did that like in the best way that the Love Boat does, so quickly. And yeah, they're all in front of this frozen river or whatever.
Every
it is.
scene took place toward the end there in front of that frozen river.
And they all comment on how it's raining. It must have pissed everybody off.
Oh, they
'cause
must have
had-
hated that for filming.
It's got to be hard though. It's
I
super-
know.
That's why I said
And
why.
it's cold and
Oh, with the wind and everything, it's really hard to pull that off. Like those conditions are tough, you
Yeah.
know. So I give them a lot of credit for like doing these remote locations and all that.
But it was not raining during the weird picnic scene between Isaac, Julie, Gopher, and Doc, where they're just munching on some crab legs. And walking,
Yeah, and
kicking
Julie
the
gives
scenery.
like one last sort of like what she's hoping for and all of that.
What this place needs? Nothing.
Right on.
Sitka, this is Juno.
Yeah, well, I was just interested in this one particular town, that's all.
For any specific reason? The weather, the scenery, the people?
The guy from Sitka that you almost married last year?
I haven't thought of anything else since we left Vancouver.
The wedding is really getting to you, huh?
Well, maybe the wedding got me started thinking, but what's wrong with that?
Julie, there are a lot of good reasons for wanting to get married, but I don't think keeping up with the Bradburys is one of them. Do you?
Jack Chenault is the most wonderful man I ever met, and he asked me to marry him. Now, how many chances like that does a girl get?
But I thought you decided...
I know what I decided. Well, it's a woman's prerogative to change her mind, isn't it?
Oh, sure. Matter of fact, my uncle used to say that a woman's mind is kind of like motor oil. If it isn't changed often enough, it gets all gummy and sludgy. My uncle was great with cars, but lousy with women.
This is like the cliffhanger because she wants to see Tony Roberts. I'm anxious to see what's going on in his life in part 2.
Yes. I hope that he does make an appearance. I mean, so far it's all been in flashbacks. I hope they don't just have flashbacks. I hope he's on.
No, I think she's going to have to run into him at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's going to be more heartache for Julie or if it's going to be something good, but we'll have to wait until our next podcast to find out.
And I am casting spells that the dad doesn't end up dying. I hope that like there's some sort of like doc comes through with some sort of cure for this guy. And, you know, his cirrhosis of the liver or whatever he's got is not going to take him out.
Maybe that clean Alaskan air will bring him back.
Yes. Well, you guys, we're glad to be back. We're glad to have you here. Like we said, we are going to try to actually not only be back with the show, but do every single episode of Season 3. We're going back. We will drop in the ones that we've already done from Season 3. And again, we want to thank Grace and her husband for inspiring this and sending us back out onto the high seas. And we are going to ask all of you guys, too, to not only, you know, email us, make sure that you're subscribed to things, but maybe put your money where your mouth is to help keep this show afloat. It's really important, and it's what we are going to try to make happen as we go forward. But again, it's just nice to be back. Thanks for being here. And until next time, I am Istvan.
And I'm Michelle.
Captain Stubing, please come to the bridge.
And we are
Lovin' the Loveboat.